of Silksong. This video contains spoilers from the game. And now to a tale spun from silk and shadow, song and sorrow. This is the story of Hollow Knight, Silksong, the journey of Hornet, princess protector of Hallownest, drawn into a strange new land where her fate is rewritten. Close your eyes. Imagine the hum of hidden caverns, the shimmer of thread in the dark, the distant toll of bells. Let us step into Pharloom and follow Hornet's ascent. Part 1. The Kidnapping. Our story begins not in Pharloom, but in Hallownest. Hallownest was a kingdom of insects, majestic, ancient, but long since crumbled into ruin. Hornet, its fierce guardian, patrolled those forgotten halls. She was the daughter of Hera the Beast, one of the three dreamers, and the Pale King, sovereign of Hallownest. From both parents, she inherited duty to protect, to endure, to bear the weight of kingdoms. But destiny, as it often does, pulled her beyond the familiar. One day, Hornet was ambushed by a host of veiled figures. Silken strands bound her limbs, muffled her strength, and she was carried far away. When she woke, she was no longer in Hallownest. She had been taken across mountains and mist to the distant land of Pharloom. Pharloom was not a kingdom of decline like Hallownest, but a place of vertical wonder, a realm built upward toward a sacred citadel said to gleam like a bell tower in the sky. It was both a land of pilgrimage and of peril, and it was here, bound in silk, that Hornet found herself. Part 2. Awakening in Moss Grotto. Hornet began as a prisoner. The threads that bound her were not ordinary silk. They drained her, sapping her spirit. Her captors claimed she had a part to play in Pharloom's future. But fortune favoured her, with aid from a winged insect who pitied her plight. Hornet broke free from her cage. Her strength returned and she escaped, tumbling down into the depths of Moss Grotto, a lush cavern humming with greenery and glowing life. Here, Hornet first learned of the land she had been taken to. A kind voice, the chapel maid, whispered of Pharloom's order, of the citadel that ruled above, and of the strange trials that pilgrims endured to reach it. Pharloom, she learned, was a kingdom of ascent. One climbs, or one perishes. And so, Hornet, no longer a prisoner, became a pilgrim. She resolved to climb. 3. The lands of Pharloom. Her journey would not be a single straight path. Pharloom was a layered tapestry, each region with its own dangers and beauty. She first came upon Bone Bottom, a forlorn hamlet where weary travellers gathered. Pilgrims with hollow eyes spoke of salvation that awaited above, though few had the strength to continue. Their words were tinged with both hope and despair, echoes of a faith Hornet could not yet understand. Beyond lay the Marrow, a place of winding tunnels and living bone where creatures stalked in silence. It was here she met Chakra, a cartographer who traded maps, charts and tools in exchange for rosaries, Pharloom's currency. With maps in hand, Hornet could better navigate the maze. In her wanderings she also encountered the Bell Beast, a vast creature bound by chains. When Hornet released it from its torment, it rewarded her gift of travel, able to carry her swiftly across the land. The ringing of its bell became her ally. Yet Pharloom was not just physical. Everywhere she saw threads, silk, that bound not only walls and bridges, but also creatures. Some were driven mad by it, others controlled, others suffocated. Slowly, Hornet began to suspect the truth. It was her own nature, her silk, that had drawn her here. Or rivals and trials. Hornet was not alone in her ascent. Pharloom was filled with other pilgrims and seekers, each climbing for their own reasons. One such figure was Lace, a rival as sharp as her name. Where Hornet moved with duty, Lace moved with cruel delight. She sought to test Hornet, to halt her climb, perhaps to protect Pharloom from the outsider, or perhaps simply to revel in battle. Their paths crossed often, steel and silk clashing in bitter duels. But Lace was not Hornet's only obstacle. To reach the citadel itself, Hornet would need to ring 5 sacred bells scattered across the land. Each bell was guarded, each test demanding. Only then could the way upward be opened. In some tellings there is another path, defeating a phantom spirit that haunts Pharloom, an echo of judgment, said to test the worthiness of pilgrims. Whether through bells or through phantom, the lesson was the same. To ascend, one must prove oneself. Part 5. The Citadel of Song. At last, Hornet reached the foot of Pharloom's greatest structure, the Citadel of Song. This was no ruin, but a living monument. Its halls rang with choirs, its shrines shimmered with threads of light. Pilgrims filled its chambers, kneeling before altars, awaiting revelations that never seemed to come. But even here, Hornet was tested. She was cast down into the underworks, the shadowed belly of the citadel, where broken machinery and forgotten singers lingered. From there, she climbed into the choral chambers, where voices echoed endlessly, filling the air with haunting hymns. It was here Hornet rang a great shrine bell, summoning countless pilgrims to witness her ascent. The sound carried through Pharloom, binding her fate to theirs. Part 6. The Threefold Melody. At the citadel's heart, Hornet discovered the 3 conductors, silent statues that barred the path forward. To awaken them, she needed to master a melody split into 3 parts. Her quest led through the high halls, where nobles whispered secrets, through the cogwork core, where brass and gears spun endlessly, and through the whispering vaults, where only the bold dared to tread. In each place, she found a fragment of song. When she returned, she played the melody before the conductors. The statues stirred, ancient mechanisms shifted, and the path higher still was opened. 7. The rivalry with Lace. At the threshold of the citadel's summit, Hornet encountered Lace once more. Their rivalry had grown with every duel, every clash of blades. But now, at the edge of destiny, they fought with all they had. Steel rang on steel, silk sliced through song. The battle was fierce, desperate, and beautiful. In the end, Hornet triumphed. And in victory, Lace granted her something more valuable than a path: respect. Hornet had proven herself not only to Pharloom, but to her rival. her silk lashed with threads as old as time, Hornet fought with everything she had, her needle flashing, her will unbending, and in the end, she prevailed. But victory came with cost. With Grandmother Silk defeated, Pharloom's threads would unravel unless someone took her place. Hornet, bound by duty and by destiny, accepted the mantle. She became the new Weaver Queen, keeper of Pharloom silk. The Abyss, optional ending. Yet, for those who walk every path, who fulfill every quest, and gather every wish, there is one more chapter. In this secret act, Hornet descends into the abyss beneath Pharloom, where the void itself seeps through cracks. There she discovers Lace again, but not as before. Lace has been consumed by void corruption, her form warped, her will twisted. Hornet fights not just to defeat her rival, but to redeem her. With the aid of the everlasting bloom, she purifies Lace, freeing her from torment. But the abyss stirs, and Hornet's strength wanes. It seems she cannot escape. Then, from the shadows, comes a familiar figure. The knight, the silent warrior from Hallownest, now a spirit of void. With quiet strength, the knight lifts both Hornet and Lace, carrying them to safety. In this act, the past reaches out to save the future. 10. Themes and resolution. And so, Hornet's journey in Pharloom ends not as it began. She arrived a prisoner, bound and uncertain. She rose a pilgrim, tested by bells and battles. She fought as a rival, a warrior, a daughter of silk, and she ascended as a queen. Pharloom itself reflects this journey, where Hallownest was a kingdom descending into ruin. Pharloom is a realm of climbing, always upward, toward light and song. Its vertical nature mirrors Hornet's own growth, each step a shedding of captivity, each duel a step toward destiny. And at its heart, the tale is about more than battles or bosses. It is about transformation, about how captivity can become purpose, how rivalry can grow into respect, how duty, even when unwanted, can become destiny. Hornet, the protector of Hallownest, became Hornet, the Weaver Queen of Pharloom. Her story teaches us that ascent is not only physical, it is also within. Thank you for listening, and I hope you've enjoyed the story of Hollow Knight, Silksong.